Listen to me, you foolish children. For years, the salesmen and the smiling faces on the television told you that your morning coffee was your greatest friend. They promised that the warm, dark water filling your kitchen with its rich scent would wake up the master, fire up the furnace, and keep the pipes flowing strong. But if you have lived past 60 winters, the truth is far darker and more dangerous than you can possibly imagine. They are quietly burning down the house. You are pouring pure poison into your cup while standing in your own kitchen. Just one of these cursed brews can send the bad sludge in the pipes skyrocketing in only 4 weeks. Another brings a massive risk of a sudden strike to the attic. They sit on the store shelves, dressed up in beautiful bags, smiling at you while they secretly destroy your whole life. Millions of old fools drink this garbage every single morning, completely blind to the silent destruction raging inside their bodies. The damage tears through the pumping heart, suffocates the attic, and crushes the delicate stones of the kidneys. It is a tragedy, but you have been tricked. The fat men in suits do not warn you, hiding their lies beneath sweet words. That is why today I am tearing down the curtain to expose the 4 worst brews, quietly stealing the strength from the walls of the house. I will also reveal the true ancient ways to protect your memories, harden your tired muscles, and snuff out the fire. This is not a game. I am watching you. Before you lift that ceramic mug to your lips tomorrow, you must learn the brutal truth. We begin with the absolute worst filth, sold everywhere, smelling sweet but acting like pure poison. At first glance, those flavored instant coffee dusts seem so innocent, like a warm hug. They are fast, they smell like sweet vanilla, and the boxes brag about vitamins. Do not be an idiot. Those brightly colored packets are packed with industrial garbage that will brutally clog the furnace, destroy the kidneys, and ruin the pumping heart. One of the most evil ingredients is propylene glycol, a filthy byproduct of black oil used to make the fake tastes dissolve. In an old, tired body, this chemical sludge builds up, leaving a toxic crust your organs cannot scrub away. The white coat researchers found that grandfathers drinking this swill daily had a massive risk of the sickness where the janitors stop working, flooding the body with dangerous sugars. I remember the rich, dark soil of Sardinia, where we grew real food, not this vile, man-made powder meant for dirty factory machines. It gets worse, you stubborn mules. These packets hide fake, disgusting greases disguised under pretty names like hydrogenated oil. These greases are thick, unnatural sludges that block the pipes and build terrible walls of plaque. A massive study tracked 1,400 seniors and proved that drinking this daily increased the risk of the heart stopping by 28%. Then you swallow the artificial sweeteners, foul laboratory chemicals that murder the good bacteria resting deep inside your belly. When you slaughter those good workers, the fire rages out of control, rotting the walls of the house and shattering your defenses against illness. Throw those packets into the garbage instantly. If you crave flavor, use a drop of pure vanilla or dark cocoa. Stop drinking factory waste. You must forcefully protect the fragile balance of your body, or you will absolutely crumble into dust before your time has truly come to pass. For many of you stubborn mules over 60, a cup is not complete without a thick splash of creamy lies. You think you are being so smart, choosing the fake milks because your weak stomachs cannot handle the real thing. Listen to me. That tiny splash of garbage is doing more brutal damage than the black water itself. Most of these fake creamers are a disgusting chemical cocktail cooked up by the salesman, packed with synthetic oils and foul thickeners your body was never meant to swallow. The older we get, the faster this filth destroys us. One of the absolute worst poisons they hide inside is a white powder used to paint the walls of a cheap house. Yes, they are feeding you paint thinner to make your drink look milky. I remember the fresh goat milk of my youth, pure and clean, not this vile, foul laboratory waste. The white coat studies prove this disgusting paint powder shatters your cells, aggressively tearing down the walls of the house and violently speeding up the terrible aging process. In just 4 weeks, it shatters the very blueprint of your existence. Then you willingly swallow the hydrogenated oils, absolutely overflowing with dangerous, unnatural fats. These vile greases violently throw your body's delicate balance into total chaos, sparking massive amounts of the fire everywhere. The old fools who swallow this toxic sludge scored terribly low when the salesman tested the master. I have seen the devastating results with my own eyes back in the old country. You will suffer from horribly stiff joints, terribly swollen legs, heavy like stone, and a fast, dark fog suffocating the attic. You are trading your precious, hard-earned memories and the sacred strength of your ancestors for a completely fake, pathetic moment of vile, artificial, creamy sweetness. And do not dare forget the hidden corn syrups and modified starches lurking deep inside these evil creamers. This highly processed garbage acts just like the white sand, brutally spiking the sugar in your blood within minutes. This forces the janitors to work themselves to absolute exhaustion, leading to sudden, crushing weakness, a heavy thickness in the attic, and layers of gross, ugly fat wrapping tightly around your belly over the years. If you truly crave a creamy cup, you must use real, organic milk from a healthy cow, full of heavy, natural fat. Even at your old age, the pure fat helps you absorb the earth's powerful nutrients. Or drink it black, fiercely adding a tiny pinch of rough pink salt to cut the bitterness. By throwing away the fake slop, you protect the master and the pipes from the total ruin they so very desperately want to cause. Now, we march to the second worst disaster on the shelf. The cowardly fake decaf coffee soaked in vicious chemical solvents. So many frightened seniors switch to this garbage, foolishly believing it is the safer choice to stop a racing heart or to protect the pipes. But hear my warning now. Not all of these cowardly brews are created equal. A massive percentage of the brown dirt sold in supermarkets is aggressively stripped using a terribly violent chemical called methylene chloride. This is the exact same industrial poison used by careless workmen to strip thick paint and scrub heavy metal machinery. The filthy corporations swear that this chemical completely vanishes during the hot roasting. But the independent investigators tell a much darker story. They found hidden, lingering residues. It is a terrible tragedy that you willingly drink the very poison meant to scrub rust off an old, entirely broken tractor. Why is this filthy chemical so dangerous for your fragile, aging bodies? The white coat government men admit this poison brings the terrible sickness that rots you from the inside. Even in tiny drops, this evil liquid violently crashes through the sacred gates protecting the attic. Once the poison gets inside, it brutally murders the tiny sparks of energy keeping your thoughts alive. Over the years, this chemical destruction causes terrible dark spots in your memory, violent dizzy spells, and the tragic, suffocating fog of a completely broken mind. Your poor liver and kidneys, already exhausted from decades of hard work, desperately try to scrub this vile industrial cleaner from the river. I remember the brutal, back-breaking labor of scrubbing thick rust from the old iron plows in the blazing Sardinian sun, a grueling task that broke strong, proud men. Stop drinking this terrible poison right now, you foolish children. The white coat animal studies proved that even a small taste of this vile solvent sparked raging fires of the swelling inside the liver in just 2 short weeks. For grandmothers with already weakened organs, you are silently stabbing yourselves every single morning. The poison piles up day after bitter day. One foolish woman from Ohio thought her thickening dark mental fog was just normal aging. She suffered for 15 long years, drinking the cheap supermarket dirt. Finally, she switched to the pure beans washed only with clean mountain water. Within 2 weeks, the master awoke from its chemical coma, and her mind sharpened like a well-oiled blade. If you must drink the weak coffee, you must demand the pure Swiss water method. No toxic chemicals. Buy the organic beans grown without the poison pill bug sprays, or you will absolutely rot the walls of the house very quickly today. Now listen closely to the ultimate betrayal. The absolute worst coffee is not the one loaded with the white sand or fake greases. It is the one that looks perfectly natural and pure. I speak of the dangerous, unfiltered boiled mud. This includes the fancy glass presses, the strong Turkish pots, and any lazy brewing that skips a simple paper shield. You foolishly believe these old methods are wholesome and traditional. But a vicious, hidden assassin lurks in the dark oils of every single cup. It is a natural compound that violently thickens the bad sludge in your body, quickly clogging the pipes. Unlike the heavy fats you eat from a pig, this oily devil aggressively forces your liver to pump out massive amounts of terrible, sticky cholesterol. I remember the bitter taste of rust on a bloody lip. This oil feels exactly the same inside your frail old veins. A massive, terrifying study published by the elite white coat authorities tracked seniors and found absolute disaster. The stubborn elders who drank this thick, unfiltered black water suffered a 30% higher risk of dying suddenly from a violently broken heart. For old grandfathers and grandmothers over 60, the brutal numbers were far more alarming. The dangerous sludge in the pipes skyrocketed by 45 points in just 4 short weeks of drinking this daily poison. I have seen strong men in my village suddenly drop like stones while chopping thick olive wood, clutching their chests in terrifying agony. This is exactly what this oily assassin does to your tired body. As we age, our inner rivers become terribly stiff, losing their youthful flexibility. Adding this devilish oil is like throwing a bucket of explosive gasoline directly onto a furiously burning, unstoppable fire of terrible, painful, and sudden tragic death today. The brutal damage from this dark mud does not stop at your exhausted heart. The thick, unfiltered oils violently burn the delicate skin inside your belly. I remember the sharp, stinging pain of swallowing hot ash from the hearth. This is what you do to your own stomach. For old folks, this means vicious acid burning your throat and deep, bloody sores that will never heal. Chronic roaring of the fire inside your belly destroys your strength to fight off winter sickness. Worse, those cheap, ugly metal pots you refuse to throw away are secretly poisoning you. The boiling water pulls the vile, bitter metal straight from the cheap aluminum walls into your daily cup. For frail grandfathers with weak, failing kidneys, this heavy metal sludge builds a toxic mountain in the blood. You are drinking liquid metal like a complete blind, foolish idiot every single dark morning at dawn. The fix is so incredibly simple, yet you are all too lazy to listen. Throw away the metal cage and use a simple paper shield. A humble drip pot or a slow pour over traps that evil, murderous oil instantly in the thin paper barrier. It catches the toxic sludge while letting only the pure, rich flavor drip safely into your mug. If you stubbornly cling to your fancy glass press, like a child holding a broken toy, you must shove a paper disc inside the metal plunger. Alternate this with the safe method so you do not die. This tiny act of obedience will powerfully protect the pipes from catastrophic clogs, calm your furious digestion, and fiercely guard your old, fragile heart. Stop treating your precious body like a cheap garbage dump. You must absolutely command the river to flow cleanly for the very few precious years remaining today. Now that I have terrified you with the truth about the 4 poisons, silently breaking your bones and rotting your organs, you probably want to throw the beans into the dirt. But listen to me. The dark water itself is not your sworn enemy. When you are not a fool, when you choose wisely and prepare it with respect, this ancient drink becomes a fierce warrior for your survival. It violently defends the attic from the creeping fog, fuels the furnace with unstoppable power, controls the vicious spikes of the white sand, and ruthlessly snuffs out the fire that ages the walls of the house. The secret is knowing exactly which pure beans to buy, and how to carefully extract their hidden magic. So, wipe the fear from your wrinkly faces. Now, I will reveal the 4 best brews you must obediently drink to truly conquer your rapid aging now. The very foundation of your fragile life must begin with pure organic Arabica beans, roasted only to a gentle medium brown. You must brew this sacred gift using flawlessly clean, filtered water. Do not underestimate this rustic wisdom. It is a total game changer for broken bodies over 60. I remember smelling the perfect roast on an open fire in the village square. The Arabica beans are overflowing with a potent, natural armor that brutally crushes the fire raging inside your swollen joints. Furthermore, it commands the janitors to sweep away the deadly spikes of the white sand before they destroy the furnace completely. The arrogant white coat researchers finally published a massive study proving that grandfathers who obediently drank 2 cups of this pure liquid daily drastically lowered their risk of the terrifying sugar sickness and fiercely cooled the burning flames, melting their tired veins down to nothing at all. The roasting fire is absolutely critical, you foolish children. A medium brown roast is the only perfect balance. It powerfully locks in the healing magic without creating the foul, burnt, black acid of the dark roasts that violently tears apart your weak stomach. But you lazy fools completely ignore the water. If you recklessly boil the dirty tap water from the filthy city pipes, you are aggressively dumping raw lead and toxic copper directly into your fragile mug. These vile heavy metals brutally crush the exhausted kidneys and cast a terrifying, permanent dark shadow over the attic. I remember the crystal-clear, freezing mountain streams of my youth. You must violently demand clean filtered water right now today. By refusing the poisoned city water, you guarantee the pure Arabica defends the walls of the house without secretly injecting chemical toxins into your old, fragile, and rapidly decaying tired bones forever. To extract the absolute maximum healing power, you must patiently use a slow paper filter. This brilliant paper violently traps the disgusting oils that clog the pipes while fiercely guarding the precious antioxidants your rotting body desperately requires. You must bravely drink this pure dark water, completely black. If you whine like a spoiled infant for cream, cautiously add a tiny splash of rich, heavy milk from a strong, healthy cow. Never pollute this sacred cup with the filthy death dust. If you absolutely need sweetness, strictly use a sharp pinch of real Ceylon cinnamon. This ancient brown bark powerfully commands the janitors to sweep away the deadly spikes of the white sand. With this one simple act of total obedience, your morning cup will aggressively defend the beating heart and fiercely snuff out the rust that makes you look terribly old and frail every single dark, cold morning forever. We move to the third masterpiece, the powerful cold brew concentrate. You think this is just a foolish, trendy drink for lazy city youths in expensive cafes. You are completely wrong. For grandmothers and grandfathers over 60, it is a magnificent, gut-saving armor that fiercely protects the precious vision in your fading eyes. The ancient secret lies entirely in the patient soaking. Instead of violently scalding the poor beans with furiously boiling water, you steep the coarse dirt in freezing water for 24 long hours. This incredibly slow, cold soaking ruthlessly crushes the terrible black acid by 70%. It is an absolute miracle for your frail, easily ruined stomachs. It completely stops the furious roaring fires of harsh digestion and bitter burping that have tortured your poor throat for so many long, agonizing years of your extremely pathetic and painful, miserable old life right now, today, forever. The arrogant white coat experts at the massive hospital studied hundreds of broken grandfathers with violently burning stomachs. They shockingly discovered that almost all of them could blindly drink this icy nectar without suffering any agony. But here is the magnificent truth that most blind fools simply do not understand at all. This freezing extraction method powerfully forces the furnace to burn 40% hotter than boiling water ever could. Because you stubbornly avoid the blistering heat, you never awaken the bitter, poisonous acids trapped inside the bean. This completely protects the precious, ancient magic hidden deep inside. Furthermore, this icy brew is absolutely overflowing with the mighty earth mineral called magnesium. This heavy, unseen armor aggressively forces your tired, shaking heart to beat in a perfect, steady rhythm and brutally hardens your brittle, chalky bones so you do not snap them completely in half right now, today, you fools. This icy magic gives you total control over your wild energy, you foolish children. You mix a tiny splash of this dark, heavy syrup with freezing water for a slow, gentle lift that will not shatter your fragile nerves. The best part for your lazy, aching bones is that it rests quietly in the ice box for 2 long weeks. You do not have to struggle with hot, dangerous pots every single morning with your terrible, violently shaking, arthritic hands. I remember my grandmother tirelessly preparing the heavy Sunday meals days in advance. You must powerfully prepare this black syrup the exact same way today. Take the coarse dirt, soak it in freezing water for a full day, and strain the mud. Add a tiny drop of the rich nut milk for your brittle bones. Stop boiling your guts and obediently drink this icy armor every single day forever now. We fiercely march to the second greatest weapon, the dark water aggressively mixed with pure animal collagen. Imagine violently waking up with a boiling cup that absolutely rebuilds your shattered joints, brutally hardens your weak bones, and firmly tightens the sagging walls of the house. Collagen is the sacred glue powerfully holding your pathetic, crumbling skeleton completely together right now, today. But when you pass 50 winters, your fragile body stops making this precious glue entirely. By your dark 60s, you have terribly lost so much thick armor that your noisy knees crack like dry twigs, and your weak muscles absolutely fail you on the very stairs. You falsely believe this terrible weakness is just age. It is the missing glue. I remember boiling thick animal bones for many long days to fiercely extract this rich, heavy magic for our weary, broken grandfathers in the old country forever today now. Why is the boiling dark water the most perfect partner for this heavy animal glue? When you aggressively stir the pure white powder into your morning mug, the intense heat violently opens the pipes, forcing the thick, healing blood to fiercely deliver the magic straight to your terribly torn muscles. It violently attacks the fire burning in your swollen knees. The arrogant white-coat scientists watched old fools swallow this thick glue for 6 long months. They were absolutely shocked. The broken grandfathers suffered massive drops in terrible pain, and the brittle stones in their hips powerfully hardened against terrible falls. You must forcefully stir 1 heavy scoop of this tasteless powder into your pure morning cup. You must fiercely demand the cleanest powder tested for the filthy heavy metals. Stop complaining and aggressively drink this thick armor to conquer your pathetic weakness instantly every single morning without any fail. Finally, we furiously arrive at the absolute greatest protector of your miserable life, the mighty dark water fiercely mixed with the thick coconut oil and the pure brown bark. This incredible combination brutally supercharges the attic, forcefully commands the pipes, and powerfully preserves the iron strength of your exhausted legs. When you rapidly swallow the thick coconut oil, it completely skips the slow digestion and races directly to the heavy liver. There, it is violently transformed into pure, blazing fuel for your tired mind. As you terribly rot with old age, your broken brain forgets how to burn regular food. This tragic failure unleashes the terrifying, blinding fog across the attic, violently stealing all your precious memories. But this mighty coconut oil fiercely bypasses the broken system, aggressively dumping pure, burning energy straight into the darkest corners of your extremely terrified and wildly confused old mind, very fast, right now. The arrogant white-coat experts finally published a massive study proving this heavy coconut oil brutally improved the fading memories of broken seniors by 31% in just 8 short weeks. Beyond waking up the master, this heavy oil fiercely commands the janitors to completely stop the violent crashes of your blood after you foolishly eat too much heavy food. It aggressively forces the furnace to burn heavy fat instead of eating away your precious tired muscles. This is absolutely critical to fiercely protect your crumbling skeleton from complete ruin. It also gives you a slow, steady, powerful fire without the violently shaking hands that the cheap, naked black water causes. I remember carrying massive, heavy stone jars of pure olive oil across the scorching, dusty village square. You must aggressively demand this powerful, thick coconut armor today to stop your pathetic weakness forever, right here and right now. Now you must forcefully listen about the sweet brown bark. The cheap garbage sold in your lazy supermarkets is heavily poisoned with a terrible compound that violently rots your tired liver. You must aggressively hunt for the true, sweet Ceylon bark. This sacred bark is absolutely overflowing with fierce magic that brutally whips the janitors into shape, violently tearing down the dangerous spikes of the white sand. It fiercely opens the pipes and aggressively snuffs out the fire, causing your brutal joint pain. The white coat researchers proved this true bark rapidly dropped the deadly white sugar crystals and forcefully crushed the thick grease in the blood. You must brew the pure Arabica water. Forcefully pour 1 spoon of the heavy coconut oil and furiously stir in the sweet brown dust. Drink this fiercely on an empty stomach to violently blast the furnace absolutely wide open forever and ever today.